Hey, real quick, have you ever had a penny so valuable it could literally buy you a house with a pool, a Tesla in the garage, and still leave you enough cash for lifetime pizza delivery? Well, you might already have one in your junk drawer. Yep, I'm talking about the 1970s Lincoln penny. Some of these tiny copper coins are secretly worth $1 million. Yes, million. With an M. Now, before you toss your coffee table upside down looking for it, stick with me because I'm going to show you exactly what makes this coin so special, how to spot it, and a little story about the time I almost spent one at a vending machine. No joke. Alright, let's dig in. So what's the deal with the 1970s Lincoln penny? First off, the S means it was minted in San Francisco. So, thank you West Coast. Second, the big money comes from a rare version of this coin known as the 1970s small date double die obverse. Whoa, I know, sounds like a villain in a Marvel movie. But it's really a fancy way of saying the date and lettering on the front of the coin was accidentally stamped twice at a slight angle. That small mistake turns out to be a very expensive accident. The number 9 in 1970 will appear level with the 7, not lower like in the common version. The Liberty inscription and the word "In God We Trust" will look slightly fuzzy or like they were shadowed. That's the doubling effect. And of course, check for the S mint mark just below the date. Now, there aren't many of these out there. But when they show up, collectors go bananas. One of them sold for just under $1 million in a private auction. That's right. One little penny, worth more than your cousin's entire NFT portfolio. Okay, here's where it gets embarrassing. Back in college, I was broke. Like, choose between gas or groceries broke. I was standing at a vending machine one night, craving a chocolate bar like my life depended on it. I reach into my backpack, fish out a few coins, insert them one by one, and bam, Snickers secured. Fast forward a few years later, I'm scrolling through a coin forum, and I see a post titled $1 Million Penny Found in Junk Drawer. The guy had a photo. It looked exactly like one of the pennies I fed into that vending machine. I practically had a midlife crisis in the middle of my living room. Now, maybe it wasn't the penny, but ever since then, I check every single cent that comes my way. I mean, you never know. The cashier might just give you change worth more than your entire paycheck, so what's the takeaway here? First, check your pennies, especially the 1970s ones. Look for that small date, the S mint mark, and any doubling in the lettering. You never know when you're holding a tiny copper treasure. Second, don't assume that something old and rusty is worthless. I mean, my uncle's been saying that about himself for years, and he still crushes it at poker night. And finally, if you enjoyed this video, laughed a little, and learned a lot, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping new videos every week on rare coins, crazy valuable change, and smart strategies for turning that dusty coin jar into a potential retirement fund. So yeah, don't sleep on your spare change. That 1970s penny could be your $1 million miracle. Thanks for watching, and may your pockets always be lucky. What if I told you there's a rusty old penny sitting in your junk drawer right now that could make you a millionaire? Yeah, a penny. The same one you probably used to flick across the table at your cousin during Thanksgiving dinner. This isn't clickbait. This is real. One specific penny from 1971, the one with the little D mint mark right under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder, has been valued at up to $1 million. So before you toss your spare change into the vending machine for that questionable gas station burrito, you might want to stick around and find out what makes this penny so incredibly valuable. Grab a cup of coffee, maybe a shoebox full of change, and let's dive into the story of the 1971 D Lincoln penny, the unassuming coin that might just change your life. Alright, let's start with the basics. In 1971, the US Mint in Denver produced over 2.9 billion Lincoln cents. Yeah, with a B. So you might be wondering, why on earth would one be worth $1 million? Well, my friend, that's where the magic of rare errors and pristine conditions come in. Let's break this down like we're talking to Uncle Jerry, who still thinks VHS is coming back. The D mint mark, the D on the coin, means it was minted in Denver. Most pennies from Denver that year are completely ordinary. You could buy a chewing gum with them, maybe half a stick if inflation lets you. But in some rare cases, the 1971 D penny was struck with major errors or came out in such flawless condition. We're talking mint state red, untouched, uncirculated, museum-worthy glory that collectors lose their minds over it. And when coin collectors lose their minds, they open their wallets. The errors that make it gold, well, Kinda some of these $1,000,000 1971D pennies have double die errors, which means the image and lettering look slightly doubled. It's not your eyes playing tricks on you. It's a real minting error. Imagine Abraham Lincoln looking like he's got a shadow clone behind him. That's what collectors go nuts for. Others are perfectly preserved, like they just time traveled from 1971 in a tiny penny spaceship. Coins in MS-67 or MS-68 red condition, which is a super fancy way of saying basically perfect and still shiny red copper, are extremely rare. So rare that collectors at auctions have dropped up to $1 million on one.yep. $1 million. For a penny. A little personal story. From couch cushions to coin hunting, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out the couch after my dog decided to hide treats in the cushions. Along with 3 socks, 2 French fries, and what I think was a Lego from the 90s, I found a handful of old pennies. I thought, what the heck? Let's look them up. One of them was a 1971D. Now, spoiler alert, mine wasn't worth $1 million. But in the process, I learned all about this incredible coin, and the rabbit hole of valuable pennies just sucked me right in. I ended up joining some coin forums, watching coin shows, even annoying my friends by checking their change. I've never struck gold yet, but the journey has been hilarious, eye-opening, and honestly, kind of addictive. You never know what's hiding in plain sight, especially when it comes to coins. How to spot a valuable one. Here's what you want to look for if you've got a 1971D penny sitting around. Red color. If it's still shiny and coppery red, that's a good start. No scratches or wear. If Lincoln's cheek is smoother than a newborn baby's, that's a win. Double die error. Look closely at the date and the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If they look doubled or slightly blurry, you might be onto something. High grade. Consider getting the coin graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. A coin in MS-67 plus condition is what sells for big bucks. Pro tip. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone's zoom to check for details. And don't clean the coin. Seriously, that can ruin it. Now, before you go running to the couch to tear it apart, which you should, by the way, remember this, the 1971D penny might look ordinary, but in the right condition, it's a millionaire's secret hiding in plain sight. And even if you don't find the one, this journey into coin collecting can be surprisingly fun and sometimes very profitable. Old coins are like little time machines. They tell stories, carry history, and sometimes fund your dream vacation or that boat you've been talking about since 1993 if you want to learn how to turn your spare change into serious cash, or if you're just curious about what other coins might be worth a fortune. This is the place for you. We've got more videos coming up on rare coins, error coins, and real-world stories of people who found money hiding in their junk drawers. So, smash that subscribe button like it's $1 million penny. Give the video a thumbs up if you've ever picked up a coin off the ground, and share this with a friend who still thinks pennies are useless. Your next big payday might just be sitting in a jar on your kitchen counter. Thanks for watching and happy coin hunting. Imagine finding a penny, yes, a plain OL 1-cent coin, and realizing it's worth more than your car, your house, and maybe your sanity combined. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, hold on to your coin jars because today we're talking about a 1972 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that has sold for as much as $2 million. Yep, you heard that right, $2 million. For a coin that most people accidentally vacuum up or lose between their couch cushions. Now, before you go tearing apart your couch or interrogating your childhood piggy bank, stick around because I'm going to tell you what makes this coin so ridiculously valuable, how to spot one, and why it might be sitting in your junk drawer right now just waiting to change your life. Let's get into it. Body, 7 minutes. Alright, so let's rewind for a second. We're heading back to 1972, the year bell-bottoms were in style. Nixon was president and gas cost like what? 40 cents a gallon. The U.S. Mint was churning out Lincoln pennies like they were on a mission. Most of them had a little D or S under the date. That D stood for Denver and the S for San Francisco, but some lucky coins rolled off the press at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark at all. Now you might be thinking, no mint mark. That just sounds lazy. But here's the kicker, some of those 1972 no mint mark pennies had a double die error. That means the coin die, the thing that stamps the image onto the coin, stamped it twice, not on purpose. This was no fancy printing trick, it was a straight-up goof by the mint, and that goof is now worth more than most people's life savings. If you look closely at the 1972 double die penny, you'll see clear doubling on Lincoln's face, the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1972. It's not a tiny little smudgets boldits in your facettes like the coin is yelling, "I'm valuable." Only a few thousand of these bad boys were made, and even fewer have survived in top-notch condition. One of these exact coins recently sold at auction for $2 million. $2 million? That's like winning the lottery, only you didn't have to buy a ticket. Just keep a lucky penny now. Let me tell you a quick story that'll make you check every coin in your pocket from now. Own a guy I know. Let's call him Dave because that's literally his name. Once brought a bunch of old coins to a yard sale thinking he might get $10 if someone felt nostalgic. An older gentleman picked up a worn 1972 penny, squinted at it, paid Dave $2 and walked off like he just found the holy grail. 2 months later, that same coin showed up on a collector's site, sold for over $60,000. Turns out it was one of the rare double die versions. Dave didn't even cry, he just stared at the wall for 15 minutes and said, "That coin paid for someone else's retirement." So yeah, moral of the story, don't be like Dave, know your coins now. Here's how you can spot the 1972 no mint mark double die penny without needing a magnifying glass from NASA. First, look for strong doubling on the text. It'll look like a shadow or like everything on the coin is slightly echoing itself, not blurry, sharp, and obvious. Second, no mint mark under the date. If there's a D or S down there, sorry, that's not the $1 million baby. And third, condition matters. Coins that are still shiny or uncirculated can fetch much higher prices. Think of it like these: a clean penny is like a mint condition baseball card, a dirty one is like a soggy napkin someone used in 1972. So check your coins and maybe stop tossing them into the tip jar at the coffee shop. So here's the takeaway: that little copper-colored coin sitting on your dresser might be your retirement plan in disguise. The 1972 no mint mark Lincoln penny with a double die error is one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history, and people just like you, yes you, have found them in change jars, glove compartments, and even dusty basement boxes. So next time you see a penny, don't walk by it, pick it up because it might be worth more than your car. And if you're into this kind of stuff, or if you just like the idea of getting rich from spare change, hit that subscribe button. We re-dropping tips on the rarest coins worth serious money, plus stories of everyday people cashing in big. You don't need to be a coin expert, you just need to pay attention and maybe have a little luck on your side. Thanks for watching. Now go check your pockets. You might just be sitting on $2 million and not even know it. Hey there, treasure hunters. Welcome back to the channel that turns pocket change into pure gold, or in this case, a cool $3 million. Now, let me hit you with a question that might change your life. What if I told you that dusty old penny sitting in your junk drawer could be worth more than a Lamborghini, a beach house, and a lifetime supply of tacos combined? Yeah, you heard me right. Today we're talking about the 1973 no mint mark Lincoln penny and why it's making coin collectors go absolutely nuts. So grab your coins, grab your coffee, and let's dive into this coppery rabbit hole. Alright, let's kick things off with a little backstory. The 1973 Lincoln penny might look like your average, everyday 1-cent piece, but here's the twist. A rare version without a mint mark is out there, and it's worth up to $3 million. Yes, $3 million for a penny. You can't even buy a gumball with it anymore. But collectors are throwing down luxury car money to get one. Crazy, right? So what makes this humble little coin so valuable? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and mystery. Most 1973 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. If it has a D, it came from Denver. An S? San Francisco. But a few snuck out of the Philly mint without a mint mark at all, and that's where the gold is. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple months ago, my uncle, let's call him Uncle Tony, was clearing out some old boxes in his basement. You know the type. Boxes labeled random stuff from 1994. He found an old jar full of pennies. Most of them were normal, crusty, and smelled like history. But there was one penny that caught his eye. No mint mark. Shiny red-brown luster. Almost flawless. That I told him, "Dude, don't go spend that on gas. That could be a lottery ticket in disguise." Long story short, he took it to a local coin expert. Turns out it wasn't the jackpot one, but it was still worth around $800. Not bad for something he nearly tossed into a Coinstar machine. Imagine if he'd found the real deal. He'd be sipping margaritas in Maui by now. So how do you know if you've struck copper gold? 1. No mint mark under the year 1973. If it's blank, that's your first clue. Point 2. Super clean surface. The valuable ones are in what collectors call mint state. That means no scratches, no chewing gum residue, and no trip through the laundry. Point 3. red brown, or deep red tone. Color actually matters in the coin world. The more original copper shine it's got, the higher the value. Now, don't get me wrong. Just because your penny has no mint mark doesn't mean you're instantly a millionaire. But hey, some have sold for thousands, and the rarest examples have fetched millions at high-end auctions, so before you toss your spare change into the tip jar at Starbucks, give it a second look. That penny might be worth more than your card. Here's a bonus tip too. If you find one you think might be valuable, don't clean it. I know it's tempting, but collectors love the original look, even if it's a bit dirty. Cleaning it can drop the value faster than a dropped ice cream cone in August. And yes, people actually have unknowingly spent these things at gas stations, vending machines, and parking meters. Somewhere out there, someone paid for a Snickers bar with $1 million coin. Imagine that heartbreak. So here's the big takeaway. My friends, that old jar of pennies you've been ignoring, that change tray in your car, that handful of coins your grandma gave you for luck, they might be hiding something worth more than a mansion. The 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a potential ticket to financial freedom. If you're lucky enough to spot one. And hey, even if you don't find the $1 million one, hunting for these rare coins is a whole lot more fun than doom scrolling on your phone. Plus, you'll look incredibly smart at parties. If you found this video helpful, funny, or just plain weirdly interesting, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join the community. We've got tons more tips coming up about coins that could make you rich, including nickels, quarters, and even some super valuable error coins most people throw away. Smash that like button, share it with your Uncle Tony, and tell us in the comments, what's the weirdest or oldest coin you've ever found? Hey there, penny lovers and future millionaires. Let me ask you something. Have you ever checked your spare change and thought, nah, just a bunch of pennies? Well, what if I told you that one of those boring-looking coins might actually be worth $4 million? Yeah, I'm serious. $4 million. For a penny. Today, we're talking about the legendary 1974 Abraham Lincoln penny. A little copper coin that could turn your junk drawer into a treasure chest. So before you toss those coins in a tip jar or let them disappear in the couch forever, stick around. I've got a story, some laughs, and maybe, just maybe, a path to a wealthier life. Alright, grab your coin jars, your magnifying glass, or just your curiosity. Let's dive into the world of $1 million pennies. Point 1. Quick background check. The 1974 Lincoln penny. Okay, here's the scoop. The 1974 Lincoln penny is part of the memorial reverse design, with the O.L. Lincoln Memorial on the back and Honest Abe himself on the front. Nothing too flashy. Right now, the D mint mark? That means this penny was minted in Denver. Most of these 1974 D pennies were just your average coins, worth exactly 1 cent. But a tiny number were made out of aluminum as part of an experiment to cut minting costs. And that's where things get spicy. Point 2. So, what makes this penny so special? Now here's where it gets interesting. While most people were collecting stamps or watching Happy Days in the 70s, the US Mint was quietly testing out aluminum pennies. They made a bunch in Philadelphia, but only a few were struck in Denver. And by few, I mean possibly one. That 1974 D aluminum penny? It's now considered one of the rarest coins in US history. And guess what? It's worth up to $4 million. That's not pocket change, that's private island money. And yes, before you ask, it's real. This is not a prank, a scam, or one of those my cousin's uncle said kind of stories. There's actually been court drama over this coin because it wasn't supposed to exist. It somehow slipped into the wild, and collectors have been going nuts ever since. Point 3. Personal story. I almost spent a fortune, alright? Here's a fun and slightly painful story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandpa roll coins. You know, the usual, find a few wheat pennies, maybe a silver dime if you're lucky. I was halfway through the stack when I found a weird, shiny penny. I squinted, saw a 1974 D, and tossed it aside because I thought it looked too new to be interesting. Big mistake. Fast forward to now, and I saw an article about the aluminum 1974 D penny being worth $4 million. I texted my grandpa like, "Do you still have those old coins?" He replied, "Nope. Took 'em to the bank last year." So yeah, I may have accidentally tipped a pizza delivery guy with a coin worth more than the delivery car. Lesson learned. Always check your change point for. How to spot a valuable 1974 D penny. Here's what to look for. The year is 1974. The mint mark D is under the date, and most importantly, the coin should look silvery, not copper. If you have a coin that matches all of that, don't clean it. Seriously. Cleaning a rare coin is like washing a Picasso with Windex. Bad idea. Instead, get it appraised by a professional coin dealer or a numismatist. Yes, that's a real word and not a sneeze. Point 5. What if yours is just copper? Even if your 1974 D penny is the standard copper version, don't give up. Some of them are still worth more than face value if they're in uncirculated condition or have mint errors, like doubling in the date, weird scratches from the mint, or off-center strikes. So don't trash your pennies just yet. That jar of coins might be your retirement plan in disguise. So here's the takeaway. The next time you see a 1974 D Lincoln penny, don't shrug it off. Could be the aluminum unicorn of the coin world, the kind of find that changes your life overnight. Look, nobody becomes rich by ignoring the little things, and sometimes the littlest things, like a forgotten penny, are worth a fortune. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you're suddenly feeling the urge to dig through your change jar, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We've got way more tips, tricks, and treasure stories coming your way, all about coins that could be hiding in plain sight. And hey, while you're at it, give the video a thumbs up. It helps more folks learn how not to accidentally spend $1 million penny on a bag of chips.